Waterford's greatest sporting hero. Have your say this June on WLR thanks to Flahavans, the winning way to start your day.
Welcome back, and now we have what I think is going to be one of the most interesting debates ever held in this great county of ours. Waterford's greatest sporting hero. Just to remind people, 2005, WLR asked listeners to nominate Waterford's greatest sporting hero. Over 40,000 texts were received. Cycling legend Sean Kelly just pipped Olympic silver medalist John Tracy to take the title. So, in the coming month, we are once again going to ask listeners to nominate who they think deserves the title of Waterford's greatest sporting hero. There's lots of surefire considerations, you could say. Premier League winners, racing supremos, and everybody we know in Waterford loves sport and we want to give WR listeners the chance of choosing in conjunction with the wonderful Flahavans, a really, really marvellous company. So now we have 4 local sports journalists, aficionados of sport. We have Kieran O'Connor. Good morning, Kieran.
Good morning, Damien. How are you doing, man?
Wonderful, thanks. We've got Michelle Ryan. Good morning, Michelle.
Good morning, Damien.
How are you keeping?
Good, thanks.
Matt Keane, how are you getting on?
Not too bad at all. Good morning, Damien.
And Ray Scott, hot off the tee. Good morning, Ray.
I wish I was off the tee, but good morning, everybody.
There may be a slight delay here and there with this because we're doing most of this through Zoom and other matters to keep the social distancing. So we're going to get straight into it. What we have, obviously, is we have our panel of 4 experts here, and I may have a casting vote in certain circumstances, and then we're going to have a list of 20 nominated sports stars. 20 nominated sports stars coming from this debate to encourage listeners then to get their votes in starting tomorrow in by text or on WLRFM.com. And the voting's going to go on for the full month, and we're going to update listeners as we go about who's getting good and who's up at the top and who's
10.
coming top 10 and all this sort of stuff. And the winner's going to be announced on Friday, the 26th of June. Okay, folks, ready to go? All excited? All nervous?
Let's do it.
This is going to be some, I'll tell you, you're going to get some phone calls after this now. There'll be some crack.
Yeah.
Matt, you'll have to get 10 soccer people in there now, I'll tell you, huh?
Just get kick-off underway. Come on.
I nominate Matt Keane for... okay, let's start. Right, we're going to start, and what we're going to do is, the format, I think the way we'll do it is, we're going to look at our top 10, or the first 10 that we could say are definitely going to be in the 20. Are we happy with that?
Yep, agreed to it.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, John Tracy. Should John Tracy, is he one of the top 20 Waterford great sporting heroes?
Oh my God, has to be. 2 world titles, the silver medal, and what he's achieved. Just unbelievable. If you're having national awards, he'd be in the nominations, not a mind in Waterford. So the Villastown man has to be in it, of course, and we're also proud of him and what he's achieved and Freeman of Waterford. So, oh my God, John Tracy has to be.
Okay, Michelle, we're all happy with that. Ray,
Absolutely.
we're happy with that. And Matt, yeah?
Yeah,
Absolutely.
The little man with the big heart.
Little man with the big heart. John Tracy, you're in the list. You're one of the top 20. Sean Kelly, cyclist. Ray Scott, what do you think?
Oh, I'd be wondering about Sean now, the previous winner of this title. Absolutely. I mean, look, Sean's a legend, and still involved heavily in the sport as well. When you think about it, you can hear him commentating on Tour de France and all that. There's no doubt. I don't even think there's a debate. He's like with Sean, or with John Tracy. He is one of our biggest stars ever as well, and still continues to shine the light for Waterford.
Okay, we're all happy with that, folks.
Yeah.
Sean Kelly
absolutely.
is definitely in, yeah?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Thirdly, John O'Shea. Matt Keane, why should John O'Shea be in this list?
Because he's our greatest footballer in a long, long time. What an incredible ambassador he has been to the world of football. So modest. He's won everything humanly possible in the game. Now coaching superbly at Reading, and just recently appointed the assistant manager of the Irish under-21 team. So, an ambassador on and off the field undoubtedly has to be in the top 10. Brilliant, brilliant player, brilliant man.
Okay, we're all happy with that. So we've got John Tracy, Sean Kelly and John O'Shea. All agreed, folks?
All agreed,
Yep.
yep.
There's 3 there already. Now, John Keane. Kieran O'Connor, talk to me. John Keane. Who was John Keane?
John Keane was one of the great hurlers of his era. Played in the 48 team that won the All-Ireland. But for me, when they picked the team of the century in 1984, was the centenary year of the GA. Sean Keane was picked centre-back, and what an achievement that was against players who had won several counties. Waterford had won their title in 48, just one. But John Keane got the number 6 shirt, and renowned all over the country as being one of the greats of all time in hurling from a different era, not old enough to have seen him. But speaking to people who saw him, he was immense. And speaking to people from other counties, the respect they had for John Keane, the late Raymond Keane said he was majestic at centre-back, and we'd have to include him. Team of the century, and of course, backbone Mount, the great Mount Sion side, and of course also was involved in the backroom team in 59 when we won our second. But John Keane has to be in there.
What do you think, folks? I think if we left out a person who made the team of the century, we'd be crucified. Michelle?
I totally agree with, like as Kieran said. I mean, like there's the difficulty in this is that you have the different eras of the different sports, obviously. But I mean, sometimes maybe there is a tendency to look towards the more current bunch or maybe the most recent bunch, but when you have somebody making a team of the century, I mean that can't be overlooked in any situation.
Okay, we're agreed with that. Matt and Scott, Ray, you're happy with that?
Absolutely. Beautiful blue plaque over the house in Barrack Street where he was born is up there, but Kieran will get a bit of a crack out of this. All I say is Canuck Sheen a boo.
Oh, I love it. The blue and white forever.
We have
like it, Matt.
John Keane is in. He's in there now. Now, speaking of Canuck Sheen, Michelle, Ken Mcgraw.
I mean, what can you say about Ken Mcgraw? Ken Mcgraw is probably one of the most standout hurlers to ever have played for Waterford, being honest about it. And his contributions for his club and also for the county scene. I mean, he's probably the most memorable hurler of that era and that team. But not to mind the Munster titles, All-Star awards on top of that, I just think it would be hugely amiss not to have him in the top 10.
Yeah, totally. Yeah.
Ray, what would you think about that?
Oh, absolutely. You know, Ken is a legend. You know, he's the modern legend, really, isn't he? And when you look at Waterford over the last couple of years, a couple of others as well, you know, when they came through there in the 90s, I don't think there's any question that Ken Mcgraw should be included.
Okay, Ken Mcgraw is in. So we've got 5. John Tracy, Sean Kelly, John O'Shea, John Keane, Ken Mcgraw. And these are being done in no particular order. I have a number of lists here in front of me, so there's no particular order on this. This is very, very important. I'm going to mention now our Neve Briggs. Matt Keane, Neve Briggs has had some records and she's phenomenal.
Incredible, yeah. I mean, she brought women's rugby kicking and screaming into the current era. Absolutely brilliant, and so modest. I had her right on the programme, Sporting Legends, there a while back. Absolutely brilliant player. She's achieved possibly everything in the game. So Neve Briggs definitely has to be in the number 10, in the top 10. From my point of view, Damien.
Yeah, Kieran O'Connor, you're nodding there.
Gee, fantastic. You know what she's achieved, and Michelle will tell you about. She was a very good lady footballer as well, and that football brought her. But she took up rugby, and within a year she was brought onto the Munster panel, and within a year and a half she was on the Irish team. And number 10, her kicking, but a lot on her kicking, her tackling, her astuteness, and as tough as nails. Part of the team that won the Grand Slam, part of the team that beat the All Blacks. A stalwart for Munster, her top scorer in Grand Slams for Munster in the Interpros, has to be on it. And dual Park Hotel Supreme Sports Award winner as well, so has to be in it, I'm sure. Michelle.
Totally agree, and as well as that, as far as I'm aware, she was nominated for World Player of the Year in 2014 also. I mean, that's the team that was involved in women's rugby during that time really brought rugby to the fore. I mean, as you said, 2 Six Nations, 2 Triple Crowns, 1 Grand Slam. I mean, you can't but look past Neve Briggs there. Okay,
we're all agreed with that. Neve Briggs is in our top 20 and she is there. John Leddingham, Kieran O'Connor.
Captain John, as he's known from Tinnock, Clashmore, and Johnny Murphy used to get great satisfaction, or indeed used to get very annoyed when the people at Cork, the Cork Examiner, used to claim him as one of their own because he's Clashmore yawl, and they jumped on him. What a legend of a show jumper. You know, won the Hickstead Derby not once but twice. He won it back to back. The only very few have done that in the history of it. Went on to win a third, won in Calgary, won 5 Nations Cup, won in Aachen, like perceived by one of the greatest riders of all time, you know, up in the Eddie Mack and Paul Dara class, you know, so he has to be in it, what he's achieved for show jumping. Now, Now, Francis Connors will have to be mentioned for the number of times that Francis won national titles, but on the international front, Captain John Ledingham, while young Peter Maloney had a great year last year and helped Ireland qualify for the Olympics, but John Ledingham, who is an Olympian as well, really would be in a class of his own when it comes to show jumping.
Well, in terms of Francis and Peter, we may come back to those because they're not out of the running yet, definitely,
top
but
10,
top 10. So in terms of 20, so we're all agreed. John Ledingham, folks, he's in that
especially
list.
And as Kieran alluded to there, represented Ireland in the Olympic Games, and undoubtedly John has to be in the top 10.
Okay, Matt, I'm going to stay with you for a second. A certain gentleman by the name of Paddy Code.
Yeah, Paddy Code, the man who stayed at home, of course, absolutely brilliant player. He's regarded as the greatest player ever to play in the League of Ireland. He started off with the Blues and then went up to Shamrock Rovers, had offers to play across Channel, refused to take them. Shamrock Rovers became the Code Colts, as Liam Tewey used to say. He got a little load of Dublin urchins and turned them into brilliant footballers. In 1958, Shamrock Rovers played Manchester United in the European Cup up there in Dalymount Park, and indeed in Oriel Park. And over the two legs, Paddy Code was the man of the match, and he was 38 years old at that stage. And then in 65-66, he came to manage Waterford FC, and would you believe it, we won the League of Ireland for the first ever time. So the man who stayed at home, the greatest footballer Ireland has ever produced, and people like John Giles and Eamon Dunphy and these people would agree with that. Paddy Code.
Are we all agreed on that, folks?
Oh, definitely, yeah.
Paddy Code is definitely in, okay. Mm-hmm. Now, I'm going to mention a certain boxer, Michelle Neil Gogh.
Well, I suppose Neil Gogh has often been described as, one of the most consistent and most intelligent boxers of the 90s. As I fully remember him being nominated for numerous Park Hotel awards during the 90s myself. And, I mean, he was 8 times Irish senior champion, appears 74, 75 times for Ireland also. And it's quite a remarkable record, to be fair. So it's no surprise that he would be included in the top 10.
Yes, I think so. 8 awards there. We're just looking at different individual monthly awards titles as well in Park Hotel, and phenomenal record over the years. 1997 he was
and never walked away from the sport. He's still so devoted and committed to the St. Paul's club here in Waterford.
So then a sporting legend, a sporting hero. Neil Gogh is definitely in there.
8 national titles tells its own story.
Phenomenal.
Internationally as well, and a great ambassador and we're lucky to have him down here in Waterford because he promotes the game, as Matt said. But and in his old period playing, so unfortunate not to make the Olympics, but as Matt said, he stuck with it, and real ambassador for the sport and real tactician, as Michelle said, regarded as one of the greats.
Okay, before we get our breath for a second, I'm just going to mention a chap to go in at number 10, Craig Breen. What do you think, folks? Should he be in our top 20? Is he one of Waterford's greatest sporting heroes? Craig Breen. Kieran?
Well, in rallying, really, I wouldn't be an aficionado, as a called rallying, but my God, within the rally fraternity, what he's achieved, you know what I mean, in rallying, and then get up into Formula 1. He had lots of knocks and bumps as regards. First of all, unfortunately, lost his co-driver, bounced back from that, and then he went on, of course, and get into Formula 1 and lost his sponsor and bounced back again. But from speaking to people in the rallying, because he's been part of the Park Hotel Awards over the years, winning monthly and won an overall there one of the years, but definitely 2012. So definitely I would think he's a strong contender. He's competing at Formula 1 in the World Rally at World Rallying in Formula 1
What
now.
Do you think, Ray Scott?
Yeah, I think we look at our sporting heroes and we look at the people that have graduated to the top of their class, and Craig Breen is certainly one who worked his way through, and karting, started off karting back in the late 90s, and then he began rallying, and he's now at the top of his game in World Rally Championship. You can't ask for higher than that. That's putting him on the same track as the Formula 1, as Kieran mentioned there.
Okay.
Craig Breen, underestimated perhaps a little bit as well.
Yeah, very much so, yeah. Okay, I think we're all agreed. We have 10 of our 20 Waterford's greatest sporting heroes. That is some list already. A phenomenal list. Again, there's no particular order on this. We just decided on this to sort of say, okay, they'll more than likely or definitely be in there. So again, we've heard already the differences with the past, the John Keanes and the Paddy Codes, and those that are still competing in their sports. Stay with us. The debate is just hotting up.
Waterford's greatest sporting hero. Have your say this June on WLR thanks to Flahavans, the winning way to start your day.
Okay, welcome back, folks, to the hottest debate in town today, this week, and for the next month. It's going to be a phenomenal debate people are going to be having over the next month. We've 10 names on our short list of 20 for Waterford's greatest sporting hero. This is in conjunction with the marvellous Flahavans that we're working with this. We're hoping to get a lovely prize for this, and we'll decide how the prizes are going to be given out as well as things happen. So we've got 10 out of 20. This is where it gets really, really hot, lads, okay? So what we'll do is, in this little section, we're going to maybe go for the next 5, okay? Now, I think, to be fair to all the different sports, we cannot sort of say, we have to have a hurler in, or we have to have somebody in, because there's somebody in a minority sport, a perceived minority sport, that may do so very well. But let me look at some of the names. I'm just going to throw these out so we can go through different things as we go, okay? So we've got the likes of Susan Smith, Tony Brown, Tom Queally, Dan Shanahan, Seamus Power, Anya Wall, Henry the Bromhead, Thomas Barr, Jim Beglin, Alfie Hale, John Milan, Tom Chasty, there's Philly Grimes, Kate Veal, Hilton Hinks, Kieran Power, Mick Bennett, Jamie Costin, Jesse Barr, Peter Maloney and Francis Connors you mentioned earlier, Sam Bennett, there's Joe Goff, there's so many other names, the Jack O'Donoghue we haven't mentioned at all, Michael Brick Walsh. Oh, it's just phenomenal, the list that is there. In no particular order, can you give me 2, please, from that list, Kieran O'Connor, that you think deserve getting into the top 20?
Well, in athletics, I think what Susan Smith was just speaking to Michelle here off air, what she achieved was fantastic, competed in 2 Olympic Games. Likewise, Thomas Barr. So in athletics, I think Thomas Barr and Susan Smith's achievements, I'd link the two of them together. While we have John Tracy in it, if we're talking sport by sport, but I think those two in particular, I think should be included. Okay, well let's okay, because you've said that now. Talk to me, Michelle, about Susan Smith and Thomas Barr. What do you think about this assertion that Kieran is making?
Well, to be fair, now, and I remember Susan Smith during her career, and I was even doing a little bit more research there the last number of days, and I mean, she competed in 2 Olympics, in the 1996 Atlanta Games and the 2000 Sydney Games. She competed in World Championships, European Championships. She was 1997 World Champion, and was an incredible juvenile athlete on top of that, you know. And I think her record actually still stands in the 400 metre hurdles, as far as I'm aware, current Irish record. So, like, she's an incredible athlete. She's kind of nearly paved the way, so in a sense, for the likes of Thomas Barr and the hurdlers that have come after her. I think she was also the first Irish sprinter to qualify for a sprint finals in the 1997 in Athens. So, I mean, she really did, I suppose, even though I know she was hampered by injury, kind of coming to the end of her career, what she managed to achieve during that career was quite remarkable in a sense, and her records are still existing even to this day.
Matt Keane?
Yeah, I think I echo everything that Michelle said there, and well done to Michelle on fantastic research there. I mean, that's unparalleled what Susan has done. She really was the groundbreaker and the pioneer for athletics at that level, you know, World Championships and 2-time Olympian. So, yeah, Susan for me. Okay, well that's 3. So I'm going to just go straight to Tom Barr with Ray Scott. Ray, Thomas Barr, why should he be in this? I'm just looking at the Supreme Sports Star Awards in Park Hotel. 2015 he was joint winner with Gary Hurley, and then he was outright winner in 2016, and then he was winner again in 2018.
Yeah, and I think he should get the award, particularly for that infectious smile that he has. He just gets in on top of everybody. Every photograph, he's always smiling, and you see him does a lot of work in charity work as well. I've seen him recently as well. I think Thomas has again flown the modern flag for Waterford athletics. You know, when you think about it, he won the World University Games in 2015. He was a bronze medalist in the 2018 European Athletics Championships. He was 4th, and you know, we all watched the Rio Olympics, and we just really were willing him to get onto the podium, but finished 4th there. So he's our modern hero in athletics as well. So I think he's deserves a mention at least, at the very, very least here.
Okay. I think we're all agreed then that the two of them, and Matt's okay with Thomas Barr, I'd say as well. Are you, Matt?
Oh, yeah, gentleman again, and fantastic. And it was disappointing that the Olympics this year, of course, have been cancelled, but he's like thousands of other Olympians that their year has been thrown into turmoil, but hopefully Thomas will be fit and rearing to go in 2021.
Okay, well, let's go with that then. Thomas Barr is in there as well in our top 20, as well as Susan Smith, and congratulations and well done to them. Again, in no particular order, we've got hurlers, we've got footballers, we've got cyclists, we've got golfers, athletics. It's going to start getting difficult now.
Basketball.
Michelle, I'm going to ask you, out of the next list, okay? Because we're now down. We've only 8 spaces left.
Right.
Okay. Just give me one. Just give me one that you think should definitely be in there. And if anybody, and I want you to argue this very, very importantly, folks, because this is crucial. This is more important than any health issues out there. Talk to me.
I suppose if I'm just looking, at the GA side of things as well here, if being honest, ladies football obviously was very incredibly successful during the 90s. You're talking about, there's a rake of players there who have very similar achievements. 5 All-Irelands, not to mention 10 Munster club titles and All-Stars and stuff. But if you're looking for the most successful ladies footballer of that era, you can't look beyond Anya Wall. There's a lot of players who have equalled her All-Ireland wins. There's a lot of players who've equalled her Munster wins, but she has 8 All-Star awards at the top level in her game. She was leading scorer in the championship on numerous occasions, not to mention several interprovincial titles as well.
Who'd be competing with her from a ladies football perspective? That'd be close enough. That
era, you would have been talking about the likes of Marie Croshy and Katrina Casey. But the only thing is, Anya Wall would have more All-Star awards than they would have. Next, then you're talking about the likes of maybe Annalisa Croshy, who has 7 All-Star awards. There are so many, and there's so many talented players in that group who have achieved so many All-Ireland medals, whether they're with their club or with their county, and been nominated for All-Star awards. And they're not just, we'll say from the Ballymac, we'll say the likes of Julianne Torpey, who would have been playing with Kill and so on, June White and them, and they would have all, the amount of All-Star awards won by ladies footballers is incredible. Anya Wall definitely tops that list.
Scoring, she was unbelievable. I often say it's a pity we didn't have her on the men's team, because my God, she was phenomenal. And we commented on a few of the All-Ireland finals there, and some of the goals she got were just incredible. And oh my God, she was a very, very special talent, like Neve Briggs to the ladies rugby. I think Anya Wall, and Michelle rightly said it was a golden era for us, but within that team you need a special talent, and that special talent was Anya. I'd agree totally.
Ray, Scott, what do you think?
Yeah, I was kind of thinking back into the 90s, and with ladies football so dominant, and Waterford were up there, and the other name that comes in across the country to me is Cora Staunton, but I would always have Anya Wall and Cora Staunton kind of in that era, and she has flown the flag again for good ladies football. She was dominant, as Michelle has said there, and I wouldn't have any issues with Anya coming onto our list.
Okay, Matt Keane.
Yeah, no issue either. Yeah, Anya is absolutely brilliant. And listen to Michelle there and Kieran speaking about her. She's a strong contender.
She would be a strong contender again, as we stressed from the very start. This is in no particular order. We could very well have put an Anya there at first or second of our 20. So she's now in there as the 13th pick, if we want to go sort of American draft style, the pick. So we've only got half a dozen left nearly, lads. It's getting tight now. We haven't even touched sports. Let's get controversial. Let's do a little bit of controversy. Stay with us. Next.
Waterford's greatest sporting hero. Have your say this June on WLR thanks to Flahavans, the winning way to start your day.
Now, welcome back. We are here for this really interesting and fascinating debate. As I say, Kieran O'Connor, we've got Michelle Ryan, we've got Matt Keane on the line from the Waterford studios, and we have Ray Scott on the Zoom, and we are in Dungarvan doing this today. All social distancing, of course. Matt, we're going to talk about camogie, and we're going to talk, I'd say there's going to be a little bit of a row about this now, because we could have one or maybe two, you could have 3 camogie players, because the history of camogie in Waterford is phenomenal. Give me who you think, at least one person from camogie that should be in this list.
One name Patricia Jackman, an absolute ambassador for the game, absolutely superb player. Was part of the Gold Tier team that lifted the title there just a couple of months ago before COVID-19. Patricia Jackman, I know the likes of Beth Carton, and then there's other players coming through, but I think, we spoke about Susan Smith being a sort of a pioneer for athletics. Patricia Jackman, absolutely superb player, and to me she's a role model for all the kids coming through, and the Beth Cartons and the younger players of the present time. So for me, if a camogie player has to be in it, it has to be the brilliant Patricia Jackman.
Okay, and again, we're not doing it by sport, so some of these people may not get into the final list. Anybody else believe that there may be another camogie player of, I suppose, greater importance, if one wants to put it like that? Kieran?
Well, first of all, I'd agree totally with Matt what Patricia Jackman achieved when camogie was really struggling at a period, because as we mentioned earlier, ladies football was on a high, and she really kept the flag flying for camogie, and what a longevity of a career. She moved over to England, but she commuted over and back. Such was her love of the game and her passion for the game, both with the club Gogh here and for the county.
Yeah, come on.
But I think
I
think that what Beth Carton has achieved has been phenomenal. Our first All-Star, then to back it up with a second All-Star. Waterford now are up in the senior ranks. They're competing with the big guns. She's won Ashbourne Cups with the college up in Limerick, but to me she's very, very special. We mentioned about Anya Wall being a special lady footballer. Beth Carton is very special. We're fortunate to have her here.
Yeah, but would Beth Carton be playing camogie here, and if Patricia Jackman hadn't done what she's done through the years?
Exactly, exactly what I'm saying, that she carried the flag when it wasn't very popular and there wasn't many girls playing it. But I think what I think Beth has achieved was on the back of what she promoted. But I think definitely that Beth winning her 2 All-Stars and her achievement for the Ashbourne Cup, and she's so highly regarded within the camogie fraternity. Speaking to some folk up in Kilkenny, they said that they'd love to have her up there.
There might be space for 2, Michelle, I don't know.
Yeah, and Patricia Jackman, by the way, Kieran, how many times has she won the long poke? It's about 10 times in a row, I think.
Oh God, Matt, you're pulling it out of now. Yeah, the Cooley Mountains. Oh no, Matt, I agree totally, and both of them, as Damien made a good point. Who's saying that we shouldn't have both?
Yeah, Michelle.
I agree, and I see both points completely. I mean, Matt, you're dead right. I mean, Patricia Jackman did in a way pave the way for the camogie players that are coming to the fore now, and I know Waterford wasn't a senior camogie team, so she wouldn't have necessarily the senior all-stars to her name, but she would have won Soaring Stars and so over the years, absolutely. But with regards to Beth Carton, I think the only thing with Beth Carton is she has, I suppose, the youth on her side and still a career to out ahead of her, and what she's achieved so far has been pretty remarkable, to be fair.
Okay, pause that for a second and just keep that thought, because in a second I'm going to ask you, if you had to vote for one or the other, you'll have to vote for one or the other. No, you don't want to do that. I know you don't. Because we're going to have votes in a minute on this. This is going to get serious, folks. Now you're blushing. Ray Scott, talk to me. Camogie.
Looking at it there, and there's some other names that are kind of jumping up. Michelle mentioned the Soaring Stars there. So you've Aisling O'Brien, Emma Hannon, Jenny Simpson. They're people who've picked up awards as well. But I think, you are looking, if you're going to go with the kind of the future and the past, you've got Beth and you've got Patricia. And I think Patricia would get the nod for me, just to kind of on her achievements so far. I think Beth, we could be back here in 20 years' time with some other people discussing it, and Beth Carton would be a shoo-in.
Okay, well, here's the suggestion then. Let's park that just for the minute. Let's park the 2 of those, because there's so many other people we have to talk about. Patricia and Beth are in the running at present to be in the top 20. They're in the running. Okay, let's talk hurling. Let's talk Tony Brown, Dan Shanahan, John Milan, Paul Flynn, Tom Chasty, Philly Grimes. Holy mother. Oh my goodness, lads. Matt Keane, if you wanted to say 1 or 2 of those have to be in that top 20 list.
Yeah, I would go for, I think, I'm speaking about an awful lot of people who pioneer the games, whatever they are, but Tom Chasey, very, very special man, special hurler, and I've had, push came to shove, I think I'd have to go with Tom Chasey.
Tom Chasey, okay. Ray Scott?
I'd be kind of, again, going back a little bit, I'm torn between kind of Dan Shanahan and Paul Flynn. I think Paul probably achieved more and delivered more than Dan. I know Dan's still heavily involved in the game, but I'd lean a little bit with Paul Flynn.
Paul Flynn, Kieran O'Connor. We're talking about hurlers of the year. We're this is really tough.
It's unbelievable. Like for a small county, we've Tony Brown hurler of the year, we've Dan Shannon hurler of the year, we've Paul, one of the best forwards the game ever saw, and of course John Milan, 5-time All-Star as well. So in that area, but I'd agree with Matt and rolling back, and this is what we mentioned earlier, past and present, the 57, 59, 63 era, and I think Tom Chasty, captures that fantastic run and played on well into the 70s, won his county titles with Ballyduff Portlaw in the early 70s, but a legend. When you go outside of Waterford, like you would with John Keane, you speak of Waterford hurling, Tom Chasty is one of those names, like the records and Christy Ring and Mick Mackey and that. So
you go for Tom Chasty, and so was Matt.
And the late Micheál O'Hare, Kieran, he just adored Tom Chasty, didn't he? You know, you'd hear every time he got the ball, like he was just raving about the man.
Likewise Micheál more Hurtig, the night.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, so I think Tom Chasty, it cannot possibly be omitted.
Okay, for Michelle, what do you think about Tom Chasty?
No, I don't disagree with anything that was said there with regards to Tom Chasty. To be honest, all the names merit being there in the first place. The difficult thing is picking the one out of the group, to be honest. I mean, if you were asking me who out of the whole hurling category there would I have picked, I probably would have picked Tony Brown, to be honest. That would have been my choice. But
well, he still is a choice.
Like, I just feel that like he achieved so much with the longevity of the career that he had as well, and was still playing and retiring when he was 40 even. Do you know what I mean? Absolutely. All Ireland under 21s, you're talking about the Munster titles. I mean, I know a lot of them have the Munster titles, National League titles, but you're talking about 98 hurler of the year, as you mentioned, Kieran. I think in 2009 he was chosen a Munster team of the past 25 years. You know, like, he was just a remarkable standout player in that generation of players also, but then again, it's very hard to differentiate between them.
Yeah, and of course Dan, being a forward, and Dan's goals in 07 will go down in history, what Dan achieved that year, you know, and he won he won hurler of the year as well, and won 3 All-Stars. Likewise John Milan as a forward, getting 5 All-Stars, and Paul Flynn. To divide him is very, very, very difficult.
Okay, well, let's try and work this out. Are we all agreed that Tom Chasty should be in the top 20?
Yes, 100%.
Yes.
Ray?
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
okay,
100%.
Tom is in there at number 14, so we've got 6 left: 15, 16, 17, 18, 19 and 20. Okay, you've mentioned Tony Brown. Okay, let's focus in on Tony. Is Tony in there as one of Waterford's greatest ever top 20 sporting heroes? Ray Scott?
Yeah, I think he has to be considered. 3 All-Stars as well, I think, if my memory is correct. The 4 titles.
Hurler of the year.
Hurler of the year, stalwart and contributing to Mount Sion as well with his club hurling. I think he's a worthy contender, but we're having this debate. They're all worthy contenders.
They are.
Just differentiate.
We know that. Yeah, that's why it's
differentiate. There's other names there. Just Fergal Hartley. That spine of that '92 team that went on to help with the senior teams. Fergal Hartley is another one that's just popping into my head.
Okay, well, here's the suggestion.
Throw another one into the mix there.
Yeah, no. And Michelle, you've mentioned Tony Brown, and you've talked about Tony Brown, Kieran, as well. Let's come back to Dan.
A monastery boy again. Tony Brown.
Okay, Tony's in there, folks. Tony's in there. Happy with that? Tony's in there.
Yeah,
so he's in there, number 15, again, in no particular order. Now we are down to our last 5 spaces. This is where it gets really tasty. Stay with us, Flahavans. Very tasty Flahavans. Stay with us.
Waterford's greatest sporting hero. Have your say this June on WLR thanks to Flahavans, the winning way to start your day.
Welcome back to this marvellous Waterford Greatest Sporting List. It's getting very hot and it's getting very tasty. Courtesy of Flahavans, one of Waterford's best ever companies. We have 15 picked already. I'm just going to run through them, recap very quickly. In no particular order: John Tracy, Sean Kelly, John O'Shea, Neil Goff, John Ledingham, Susan Smith, Craig Breen, Anya Wall, Neve Briggs, Thomas Barr, Ken Mcgraw, John Keane, Tom Chasty and Tony Brown. And Paddy Code. Okay, 15 there. We've discussed Patricia Jackman and Beth Carton. We don't have Camogie in there yet. We have discussed hurlers, but we have still the likes of John Milan, Dan Shanahan. Oh, Janie Mack. We haven't even Alfie Hale, Henry the Bromhead. There's so much more to discuss. We may not be able to fit this into 20, but let's just see.
I mean, look, we have to look at stretching it. As we said off air there. I think it's so important that I think so many of these people's names we're just banding her out. This is huge for us and within Waterford, and I think to be shame if some names that we've mentioned,
like Jim Beglin, haven't even discussed.
Correct. And different sports, racing and golf hasn't been in there as well. So,
okay,
I think. What do you think?
I kind of tend to agree with Kieran. I think to do justice to the competition and to the amount of sports that are involved, and as we said, you're dealing with sports people over a variety of eras as well, and no doubt everyone's going to have their opinion on it anyway, but I think to do justice to all the people that we have to consider, it might be worth it, to be honest.
You just don't want to vote now between Beth and Patricia. That's exactly what that is. Ray Scott, are you taking part in this mini revolution? Are you usurping the chair? Ray. Are you going to usurp the chair?
I won't usurp the chair, but I will agree with it. I think, what have we got? We've 5 slots left, and yes, we haven't discussed sports like golf, like basketball,
horse racing.
Horse racing is another one that, if we could go to another
25,
5, maybe 10, maybe 20. Could we go to 50?
No, feck off. We'll be here all night. Ray, Matt Keane.
I have no problem with 25. Yeah, I think it's a good decision. One of the few good decisions you make, Dave.
Power rules by majority rules, Matt. Fair play to you. Thanks a million there.
Well, Matt Keane has been reporting on Waterford's first ever win back in 1932. Was it, Matt, or when was it?
37.
World War I.
Okay. We have 4 people on the panel who are now officially extending this list to 25. I'll go along with it, folks. I think you're 100% right. I think it is too tight. It's too tight to decide. I think it really is. It's too tight to decide. Okay, let's move on swiftly. Patricia Jackman and Beth Carton. Both of them should be in it.
Yeah, I nominate Patricia Jackman anyway, yeah.
Okay, let's put Patricia Jackman in and let's put Beth Carton in. And Beth. So that's 16 and 17. Now, talk to me about horse racing.
Yeah, horse racing, Henry de Bromhead, what he's achieved has been just phenomenal. Took over the training from his dad Harry, and his Cheltenham success alone, not a mind winning all the various big races, Ireland and Cross Channel, the Irish Champion Hurl and the Irish Gold Cup, and of course the Champion Chase at Cheltenham. What he's achieved, particularly in the last 5 years, 9 Cheltenham winners, and of course the Champion Chase success has been just phenomenal. And what Henry's achieved out in Keane has been truly outstanding, and I think I would definitely think that he should be included.
Michelle, Henry de Bromhead, and Michelle, are you delighted now you didn't have to vote between Patricia and Beth?
I'll reserve comments. But yeah, no, I totally agree on Henry de Bromhead. As Kieran has rightly said, I mean, he's been the go-to trainer, especially in the last number of seasons as well. And I know maybe there might be that argument, that he is a trainer and that he, is dependent on a lot of other things going right for him. But I mean, that's the nature of his sport. That's the sport he's involved in, and he's been dealing very well with the hand that he's been dealt with, and has been very successful with that.
Okay, Ray and Matt. Ray first.
Yeah, absolutely. I will put my hand up and say I don't think I've ever won a single shilling in horse racing, so I know nothing really about it. But I know Henry, and I know of him, and I've watched and followed his successes, and I think that he should be on the list.
Matt, concur?
Yeah, Henry, and what a courteous and helpful man. You just ring him any time of the day. You can go out to his stables if you make an appointment. It's fantastic. And I always remember one incredible day, still have beautiful photographs at home with the late, great, or much lamented friend Kevin Casey, and Kevin just adored going out to Keane, and that's the kind of a man that Henry is. We all, Kieran as well, after outlining his incredible success. But Henry and his wife will bring you in and give you buns and tea and everything. And Kevin loved it. So Henry de Bromhead, absolute, utterly.
Well, for that alone, for the buns and tea, and for keeping Matt happy, Henry is in there. Henry's in there. Okay,
that's why Matt gets the vote there.
That's it, exactly. We'll go let's just talk about Tom Queally for a second, Kieran.
Yeah, Tom's achievement is really phenomenal. Like, Tom was champion apprentice in Ireland, went over and then won champion apprentice in England. In the Park Hotel in the last 30 years, no one has won 3 Supreme Awards, but Tom Queally has. He'll be forever remembered with Frankel. And actually, as we speak, there's a film being made Not quite sure who's getting the part of Sir Henry Cecil, but there's talk that Tom could be playing Tom in it yet. That was the last I spoke to him. He was home at Christmas because his brother Declan won a Park Hotel Award, and he won it, and Tom had a winner over hurdles down in Tramore. But beside all that, he'll be forever remembered, one of the greatest horses. And Sir Henry Cecil picked out Tom as the man to ride Frankel, and he rode Frankel in every one of his big wins. Phenomenal, as I say. He'll go down as a legend of a horse, and Tom was part of that real success story. And to win I think Tom,
you put in Tom to win the Park Hotel Awards to the year 2000 and 2009, 2010. That's phenomenal. Matt Keane, what do you think?
Yeah, Kieran, who's the guy that played Brian Clough in The Damned United? Know that film? I think he's been lined up to play Henry Cecil in that film.
Is it? Yeah.
He won one. Tom Queally too has the record.
Kieran's avoiding that film question there.
No, that wouldn't be my. Sorry, Dan. Sorry, Matt.
I'm trying to think of his name. I know him. He was. I
know him to see. O'Connor was in the cinema. It was about 1958.
That's it. It was black and white, Matt. It was black and white, and broke down above in Capperquin halfway through the film, changing the reels.
Lord and Hardy.
No, but
I'd say a lot of things broke down in that cinema.
But Tom Queally, actually, as a young guy, when he won the Irish Apprenticeship, we gave him the Park Hotel Award. He was only 15, going on 16. He came down in his school uniform. But what a success story. He started off with Paul Flynn and with Sir Henry Cecil. So
Michelle,
I think Tom should be included.
Michelle, would you be in favour of Tom getting into that list?
Yeah, I would have no problem with that at all. I think as Kieran's recount of his record there, kind of, I suppose it stands to him, absolutely.
Okay, and Ray, again, as you say, you're not a racing aficionado, but in terms of horse jumping and other matters, what would you think about Tom getting in there?
Oh, just one word, yes.
Okay, perfect. So Tom is in there. Okay, we're down to number 20. Let's talk golf for a second.
Yes.
Let's talk Seamus Power. Why should Seamus Power be in this list, or why should he not be in this list? Why are his other more deserving?
Well, Seamus started out as a young guy in Dungarvan, went to school in St Augustine's, and his late mum Phil died when Seamus was a young guy, so his dad and Ed used to leave him out to West Waterford really to keep him occupied out there, and he'd now alone play 9 holes, and Ray know all about this. He'd play 18 and play 36 and stay all day there, but he came on to the St Augustine's team, led him to win the All-Ireland colleges. Then he went and he won 3 national junior titles as an individual. Then they won the All-Ireland foursome as a club team. Then he was part of the home internationals. Then he went on and was selected to compete in the Olympics. Mm-hmm. And then finally, and he was out with Porrick, and Porrick Harrington was very good to him out there, and he ended up finishing higher above Porrick. Porrick was so worried about Seamus, but Seamus, and then of course getting onto the PGA, and he's won serious money out in the PGA, and I'm sure Ray will concur. What his achievements really are very special.
Ray, what do you think?
Oh, absolutely. As Kieran said, an Irish 3-time youth champion, and he went on scholarship on the back of his amateur career in Ireland and went to East Tennessee State University, studied accounting, like Porrick Harrington actually, and he said that he'd be an accountant if he wasn't a pro golfer. As you said, he went on the PGA Tour. He's currently there, lost his main card this year, but he's still in the next section, so he'll have a bit of golf if and when it comes back. He has over $2.5 million in earnings, and would you believe, here's one for you. Kieran, you didn't know this. He was ranked in the top 10 in the world in the age of 11 to 12 in racquetball. And he actually played in the World Racquetball Championship as well.
He got a Pat Knocker Award for it, yeah. We had him mapped, yeah.
Well, yeah, correct. It's a fantastic figure rate to have $2.5 million, isn't it? But he hasn't half as much in the bank as you.
Getting on the PGA is an achievement.
Okay, Seamus Power is in there. Okay, we've got 5 left, folks.
Yeah,
again,
Damien, can I just also can I throw another Power into you as well, because we also have to mention about Eddie Power, and from Tramore, 3-time Irish Open champion. He won the East. He was a runner-up in the East of Ireland. He was a runner-up in the Irish Close as well. Won the Mullingar Scratch Cup and capped 47 times for Ireland. A fantastic golfer from a huge golfing family here in Tramore, and Eddie's name trips off the tongue when people talk about the great golf.
Yeah, and he won in '93 in the Park Hotel Awards. You're right. Okay, but does Eddie Power deserve it more than the likes of Dan Shanahan, for example? We're now into the last 5, lads.
Waterford's greatest sporting hero. Have your say this June on WLR thanks to Flahavans, the winning way to start your day.
We're now into the last 5. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to ask each of you to pick your 5. Okay, I'm going to ask each of you to pick your 5. So I'll give you some suggested names. Dan Shanahan, Jim Beglin, Alfie Hale, John Milan, Eddie Power. We've got Kieran Power. We've got Philly Grimes. Joe Goff. Should Joe Goff be in there? Sam Bennett could well be in there. He hasn't technically declared for Waterford, so there's a tip Waterford thing there, so may not be there. But your last 5, folks, and it's a tough one, but I think we'll do it now on the basis of we got to wrap this up now and see where we're going. So we've extended Waterford's greatest sporting hero in conjunction with the wonderful Flahavans from 20 to 25, and thank the Lord we did, because you'd be killing me now and I'd be killing you and we'd all be killing each other. Kieran O'Connor, your top 5, your 5 last, your 5 in no particular order, like one of these could win it, but who should be in there?
Well, one man, when I grew up...
I want the 5, please.
Back in the day...
I don't want preambles. Right. There's no big...
Alfie Hale, yeah.
Okay, 1 for Alfie. 1 vote for Alfie.
Alfie, yeah.
Go.
Dan Shanahan.
Dan, 1 vote.
John Milan.
1 vote.
And I'll put Flinner as well.
Paul Flynn, that's 4. Give me 1 more.
I think I'll give you 5 there. And Alfie.
Alfie, Dan, Milan, Flynn.
Oh, yeah, and Jack O'Donoghue.
Jack O'Donoghue. We haven't even discussed
Rugby,
Jack. Yeah. Rugby, okay. Michelle?
Number 1, Jim Beglin.
Okay, Jim is in there for 1 vote.
2, Philly Grimes.
Okay, Grimes.
3, John Milan.
Okay, that's John Milan with 2 votes.
4, Dan Shanahan.
Dan is in there with 2 votes.
And 5, Alfie Hale.
Alfie Hale, okay. Matt Keane.
Okay, my 5 in no particular order again. Alfie Hale.
Okay, that's a vote for Alfie. Alfie's up to 3 votes.
Jim Beglin.
Jim Beglin is there with 2 votes.
Eddie Power Golf.
Eddie Power Golf, 1 vote.
Kieran Power Cycling.
Kieran Power Cycling.
And Gillian Hayes Basketball.
Gillian Hayes Basketball. Again, we haven't even discussed the basketball, and I'm glad you've mentioned Gillian, a phenomenal player. Ray Scott.
Well, I was writing down my list and marking my number 1s, and I gave my number 1 to Gillian Hayes. Matt's just got in there ahead of me.
Well done, nice one, Ray. Well done.
Okay, there's 2 votes for Gillian.
Number 2, Dan Shanahan.
Okay, Dan is up to 3.
Number 3, Eddie Power.
Eddie Power is up to 2.
4, Alfie Hale.
Alfie gets in there as well.
And 5, I will go with Jim Beglin.
Jim Beglin is up to 3. Okay, so number 21 on our list is Alfie Hale, A-L-F-I-E, Alfie Hale. Number 22 on our list is Dan Shanahan. Dan Shanahan is in there also. Number 23 on our list is Jim Beglin. Jim Beglin. And then we have a tie for the last 2 places. So we've got 3 people.
Now we'll turn it the chairman. You have your casting votes, sir. Come on now, you have to stand on.
You're still voting here. We've got John Milan on 2 votes. We've got Eddie Power on 2 votes. Or we've Gillian Hayes on 2 votes. So we're going to rule out Paul Flynn, unfortunately, and Paul is as deserving it as so many others. Jack O'Donoghue, still in his career. Philly Grimes, Kieran Power, unfortunately. So John Milan, Eddie Power, Gillian Hayes. Kieran, give me 2, please.
Gillian Hayes and John Milan.
Gillian Hayes and John Milan. Michelle?
John Milan and Gillian Hayes.
Same again. Ray?
I'm going to stick with my choices, Gillian and Eddie.
Gillian and Eddie. And Matt Keane?
Gillian Hayes and Kieran Power.
No, Kieran's gone. Don't be messing me now.
He's gone, okay.
Gillian Hayes, Eddie Power or John Milan?
Eddie Power.
Eddie Power. Okay, so Gillian is in there now. So now we have 2. We've got John Milan and Eddie Power. John Milan and Eddie Power.
Stick with Milan. 5 All-Star.
Milan.
Folks?
All right, I will go with Milan. 5 All-Stars probably shades it over 3 Irish Open Championships, does it?
Okay, and
Irish Close Championships, sorry. Irish Close Championships.
And Matt?
Eddie Power.
So it's 3-1.
Magnanimous rave.
John Milan is in there. So Gillian Hayes is in there at 24. And John Milan there in there at number 25. Okay, folks, that is some list. That is some phenomenal list. So again, in no particular order, Here we are. The top 25 for people to vote on over the coming month. John Tracy, Sean Kelly, John O'Shea, Neil Goff, John Ledingham, Susan Smith, Craig Breen, Anya Wall, Neve Briggs, Thomas Barr, Ken Mcgraw, John Keane, Tom Chasty, Tony Brown, Patricia Jackman, Beth Carton, Henry the Bromhead, Paddy Code, Tom Quealy, Seamus Power, Alfie Hale, Dan Shanahan, Jim Beglin, Gillian Hayes and John Milan. That is some list. Like, again, those that have been left out, like the likes of Austin Gleeson not getting there, Paul Flynn not getting in there, Kieran Power not getting in there, Joe Goff, Mick Bennett, Hilton Hinks, Kate Field, Philly Grimes. It's some county.
Jamie Costin, Olympian as well.
It's some Jamie Costin. It's some county for sports, lads.
At the Park Hotel Awards, the late Jimmy McGee and indeed Bill O'Hurley used to often say they were staggered each year at the standard in a year, and here we're trying to put it over a lifetime, you know,
yes.
for our greatest ever. So look, I think we're very fortunate in Waterford with the standard we have, and my God, that list would stand up in any county. So it's a privilege to be in the 25, but as you say, we could have 25 more, and Michelle will know all about it as well from various sports.
Yeah, you could
some
go
list, Michelle.
It's some list, Michelle.
It's an incredible list, and like as Kieran said there, you know, the range of sports that you're taking into consideration, but getting to the top of their game in all of those sports. I mean, the amount of Olympians, as you said, Damien, there for such a small county, the amount of Olympians we have here, and it's important to recognise that, it is phenomenal. But then you take, I suppose, the likes of the GA Ladies Football Camogie as well, people who have achieved the top in their possible sport as well. It's hard to compare the different sports, but you just have to consider, with regards to each one, have they achieved at the top of the game? And all of these, there's undoubtedly have, and there are more to go with it, but unfortunately it's only 25.
I know we've left out like John Kiley in Gaelic football, Brian McCormick motorbike racing, Sam Bennett cycling, Kieran Power cycling, Mick Madigan soccer. It's some list, Matt Keane, isn't it?
It's incredible. You get a little tingle down the back of your spine when you look at the 25 names there, and as I think it was Kieran said it, you could add another 25 to that, and what an incredible, proud sporting county we are. It really is amazing, and I think that's a fantastic spread of sports people for people to vote for, courtesy of Flavins.
Courtesy of Flavins, exactly. And Francis Connors didn't make it, Michelle Aspel didn't make it, unfortunately, Mick Bennett didn't make it, Patricia Jackman is in there, Ray Scott, 25. It's some list.
Yeah, absolutely. As I said, we were debating could we get to 50, and I'd say we'd have no problem filling a list of 50 from Waterford, because the names that we've left out are as equally important as the names that have made it. I'm not looking forward to hearing you, Damien, reading out all the nasty text messages you're going to get about some of our choices, and probably our omissions more than our choices. But you know, it is a worthy list, and I think it's a huge opportunity for people to vote for, what are incredible sports.
Just before Kieran comes back in, the reason we picked the four of you, we wanted a nice breadth across the county, also in terms of looking at different sports and different perspectives, and that's there, and I think that's reflected within the list, isn't it, Kieran?
Yeah, definitely. And as Michelle said, the wealth of talent we have is just unbelievable. It's only when outsiders come to Waterford, and years ago up in the Park Hotel, the various monthly awards used to be up on the wall, and people would be staggered at the amount of national champions, international champions, Olympians that we've had, and then within the GA circle as well, what we've achieved. We may not have won All Ireland, but we've produced some of the greatest player of all time in modern era. But just on the porridge, I think Flavins coming on board, I think Flavins have been a true stalwart in Waterford over the years. They're very difficult. The food industry is difficult, and they've remained at the top. They've introduced organic and microwavable stuff. But Tony Brown's mum, Madge, and Tony's longevity of his career was put down to Madge with the porridge in the morning. So Tony Brown is a great ad for Flavins, and it's great to have them on board.
Well, we are totally and utterly happy to have Flavins on board. They're delighted to be working with us, and we believe this is a perfect marriage, a really good team. Michelle Ryan, thank you very, very much for joining us.
Thanks, Damien.
Well done, and excellent comments. Ray Scott, superb comments and analysis as ever, and thank you very much for joining us. Matt Keane, thank you very, very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Damien.
And Kieran O'Connor, thank you very, very much.
Thanks, Damien.
Waterford's greatest sporting hero. Have your say this June on WLR thanks to Flavins, the winning way to start your day.